Alright, y'all. We back at it with another video today. Hold on, let me get this off the screen. Because that's going to mess me up for real. I ain't going to lie, chat. But we back in it again. I don't hear that echo neither and my mic working, so that means we doing what we supposed to be doing. Either way. Back at it with another scary stories vid. Today I was going to react to something else. We still might do that. But we're going to do this first. I feel like this is more of our lane. Things that we actually like to do. Not just like covering interesting topics or like current events for y'all. Like just something we just like to do on our own. Yeah, we back at it with the scary stories today, chat. This one, creepy paranormal TikTok ghost stories. I ain't finished that other video because y'all ain't hit the like go. Like, this one is 10, you feel me? Just cause y'all ain't hit the 15, I ain't about to like, oh, y'all ain't hit 15. I ain't about to raise it to 20 on niggas, you feel me? 10. Just give me something though, damn, like, let a nigga know you watching these shits. But boom. So yeah, y'all go ahead and hit the like goal on this. We'll give y'all the second part of this. I'll probably go through about like 30 minutes on it. I have not watched this yet. Like, you know, I don't really watch a lot of these before we start. But yeah, I got y'all. We about to go ahead and get into it now.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last home healthcare video that I'll be making. I have to double check my book, but around that time I was always writing things down whenever they happen, but I'll have to double check and let you know. So let's get into it. So around this time I was packing a bag about 3 days, sometimes even 2 weeks, and I'll be going to these clients' houses. I was working for this home healthcare company. And so I packed the bag for the 24th, 25th, and 26th of December, and I was at this woman's house. Now, I had already been to her house months before. Like, I had been there consistently for months, and nothing ever happened in her house. So here we are. This is a small house. We're up in the living room, and we're dancing. She likes to dance. And so we're up there dancing, having a ball. And I noticed a lot of new decoration. I'm like, oh, you've been decorating? She's like, yeah, the other girl, whenever she's on shift, she helps me decorate. I'm like, cool. The doorbell rings. I go to the doorbell. I go to the door. I opened the door, and it was my coworker, the woman that she was just talking about. And she brought this chair. And I'm like, you brought a chair? She was like, yeah, it's adding to our decoration. This is something that we like doing together. I'm like, okay, cool, that was sweet. So she brings the chair in. When she brought the chair in, she set it all the way at the end of the hall. And it had this painting that was over it. So I'm like, okay, that's sweet. So we continue our stuff. The lady leaves. We continue dancing. And then the woman wants to get in bed. So I put her in bed. Fast forward to after I put her in bed, I put the motion sensors down just in case she gets up. So the motion sensors started going crazy. And I looked at the camera, and she's laying in bed. She's knocked out. So finally I stand up, and when I stand up to go check and peek my head around the corner, there's this dark figure sitting in the chair that my coworker had just brought into the house. Can't make out if it's a man or a woman just yet, but it was a very dark figure, and I heard stomping, but it didn't sound like feet. And then I look over, and it has like this cane in its hand, just stomping it on the ground, on the floor. So finally I get up, I run over to my duffel bag, and I get my Bible out, and I get to praying. And it's just sitting there looking at me like, and I said, so you just not gonna go? Like, you just not gonna leave? So then once I started to get aggravated, and I started to really like be really forceful with the words from the Bible, that's when it stood up and it walked into the bathroom, and then it walked back out. But when it walked back out the bathroom, it did this high jump in the air. Like, okay, what was that about? After it did that little high jump, that weird thing, it disappeared from in front of me. But I heard the motion sensor, so I walked over to the camera. And when I walked over to the camera, I see his face, yes, it was a he, in the camera, and he's pointing at my client. So, of course, I'm aggravated. I go back there, and I flick the lights on. I didn't care if she was asleep. I was just worried because I know you ain't here for her. Not right now. Not right now. So then fast forward, I played it off to the woman like, oh, do you have to use the bathroom? I'm so sorry that I flicked the light on like that. And so she's like, oh, no, I'm okay. So she lays back down. Once I go back out to the living room, I get to praying. I get to like drawing crosses over all the doors, over all the windows. But next thing you know, I feel something walk behind me. And when I felt it, I turned around and he's right here in my face, like right here in my face. I almost dropped to the floor, y'all, but I couldn't do it because then he'd be thinking that he had one up on me. So that entire night, he would just randomly pop up in my face. He would randomly pop up on the sofa, or he would be sitting in that chair that my coworker brought. Now, this is the scariest part. The scariest part is the fact that right after he left up out of my client's room, I could hear her gasping for air like she needed me. And so I ran in there and I said,
this sound like a demon, chat. I ain't gonna lie. I like the way she's saying, like, you can't give it energy, or like you feel like it'll come back to do the same thing. We got demons walking amongst us, chat, for real. What that sound like to you? For real. So I'm saying, don't discredit these people when they say things like these, you feel me? Like, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of these stories to me, they do sound really out there, but there's some shit out there besides us, you feel me? It's a very big world to say it isn't.
At her up on the edge of the bed, and I'm like, are you okay? And she said that she said, I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go. Now, all this time, she's never talked like this, and so I'm just like, you ain't gotta go yet if you don't want to. I think what made me more nervous about it is the fact that it was a dark figure that came to collect her. At that point, I was just like, do you want to pray with me? We had never prayed together before, but in that moment, she wanted to pray, so we prayed, right? So fast forward to while we're praying, he just sat down, like, I wait. So I think that scared me too, because what has this woman done in her life that is so terrible to have a dark figure come to collect her and take her somewhere, and not even a prayer can stop it, can stop her from going with him. Now, here's the even scarier part. I got a feeling to look outside. So I went ahead and I looked out the window. And when I looked out the window, there were two other dark figures standing on the sidewalk. That scared the crap out of me, because I know y'all better just be here for her. So I hear knocking on the door. Of course, I'm not answering it because I just looked out the window. I saw y'all out there. I'm not opening the door. And so the woman, she starts getting hysterical, and she is like really going crazy. I'd never seen her like this before. And so do y'all know, like, probably not even 24 hours after I left, that woman passed away. She passed away. And
those sounded like watchers, chat. Like, oh, my bad. My neck was killing me, though. Those sound like watchers, though. Like, things that come to collect you. You feel me? Like, when it's your time to go, for real. But, not the good kind, though. I don't know where that lady was going or what she was into in this life. You feel me? But, I don't know. It doesn't seem like she's going to a place where it's going to be a lot of light at, chat. You feel me? Like, two dark figures coming to come collect your soul. I don't know.
And in my head, I feel so bad, but in my head, I was thinking, like, oh my God, this family gonna think I'm the Grim Reaper.
I just got home from the house that I lived in when I first moved up to New England that was incredibly haunted. Went to drop off flowers for Carrot, which was my cat that I moved up here with, and sadly he passed away in that house within like a month or two of me living here. I had texted the owner of the house, who I'm still friends with, asking if I could bring him flowers because last week was the 2-year anniversary of him passing, and she said, sure, of course, you know, we're not there, but you're welcome to leave them on the porch. So I drive up there, I do that, and as I am backing out, I look up at the second floor window, which is a room that had a lot of activity when I lived there, and I see somebody standing in the window. There are no cars there. She told me that nobody would be home. That's why I left the flowers on the porch rather than going in and saying hi, but I am seeing a person standing in the window. Stuff like that was just common living there. Like, there was always weird shit happening. But as I was driving home, I realized that I didn't tell you guys a few of the creepiest things that happened while I was living in that house. For example, I had a neighbor who was a few years younger than me named Eric, and he lived in the closest cabin to the house, which was like half a mile away. He knew that I was seeing things and experiencing things in the house, but he was a hardcore skeptic, and I'm sure he still is. He never seemed scared. He would always just try to come up with logical explanations, which I appreciated because I was living there alone, and sometimes it would get pretty scary. One night we're in the living room watching a movie, and he gets up to leave, and we both hear the voice of a little girl say something in the kitchen, which is like right next to the living room with no wall in between. We both look at each other and look at the kitchen because we're like, what the fuck was that? And like, you couldn't make out what she was saying, but it was definitely a very high-pitched little voice. He turns to me and he's like, it had to have been a mouse.
See, and that's the thing, chat. Like, I've never seen anything or heard anything while I was with somebody else. So any situations I feel like I've seen by myself, I could just be chalked up to being crazy or just seeing things. But I feel like when you with somebody experiencing something like that, I feel like it's even scarier because like you can't write it away. You can't. Oh my God, English, my nigga. You can't write it away. Like you can't think it away. Like, you can't wish it away. Like you could. I guess you could try to pray it away together, but like, who the fuck knows, chat? Like you. It's just no unseeing it though, and if somebody there to confirm it with you is always more fucked up. Cause that means you're not crazy.
It couldn't have been anything else. It was just a mouse. I'm like, okay. So I walk him to the front door to see him out. When you walk in the front door, there's a mudroom where you can take your boots and your jacket and all that off. And then directly in front of you is the second living room. And then to the left of that are the stairs that go up to the second floor. And then hard left, there's an office, which is the room that Carrot died in. Well, as he's going to leave, his back is to the front door. He gives me a hug. And as he's doing that, I hear him gasp in my ear and pull away. And I look at him and tears are welling up in his eyes as he's looking up at the second floor landing up the stairs. I'm like, what is wrong? What just happened? Are you okay? And he is not breaking eye contact with the top landing of the stairs. Like, he will not look at me. He's just looking up there and he's like, I swear to God, I just saw you moving up on the second landing. And I'm like, that's not possible. Like, what exactly did you see? And he's like, I saw you. It was your outline, but it was all black. Like, there was no color. I couldn't see hair color. It was just like your shadow moved from one side of the landing to the other. And at this point, tears are coming down his face. And again, this man is a skeptic. He doesn't believe in the paranormal. And he's like, I don't know what I just saw, but I need.
Shit like that'll change your opinion though real fast. It's like, what can you do when you're faced with some shit like that you cannot explain away, and then somebody else, like you said, like they were just together and they saw some other shit, right? And now that he's by himself, he sees her, but she's right here, like downstairs from his perspective. So now he knows in his mind what he saw wasn't right already. You know, he probably had a feeling too what he saw wasn't right, and then he goes and he sees her in the spot where she was just not at, or she was just upstairs. Now she's here. Yeah. I think at that point it's like, what could you think?
Need to leave. I'm like, so you're gonna leave me with something that looks like me in the house? Cool, thank you. And he's like, yeah, I have to go, bye. At night, I'm laying in bed. My dog is in bed.
Chat. I'm sorry. She said they was friends. So I'm assuming he's not. I ain't gonna lie, he there type late though. He there type late. I ain't gonna lie. He probably hitting that. So that's probably one of her friends. Like, you know, your grandma said she got friends and shit. Like, oh, that's my little friend and shit from bingo. But like, that ain't clapping cheeks. This probably one of her little friends for. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, but at the same time, if he left, he probably not clapping cheeks. But I don't care if I was clapping or not, gang. I'm out. Like, I'm not staying with you and your demons, bitch. Like, you gotta fight them hoes. Like, I ain't gonna lie. You have to fight them bitches for you to get in a relationship with me. Like on some real shit. Come healed. Like, come healed. That's what they mean. This the shit I mean, at least. Don't bring demons and
with
shit.
Me, obviously, because he always is. And I'm drifting off to sleep, and I hear something tapping on the dresser in my bedroom, which is at like the foot of the bed, kind of a few feet away. Slowly crack my eyes open and look, and I see the outline of somebody standing against the dresser, slowly drumming their fingers like they're impatiently waiting for something. My eyes obviously fly all the way open, and they're gone. When I say stuff like this was common, it was like a weekly event. The first few months in that house, right after Carrot had passed away, my mom came up to spend Thanksgiving with me. I put her in my bedroom, and I went into the guest bedroom, which if you've seen the videos, it's a yellow bedroom with like weird purple splotches all over it. It looks very creepy. It is a very creepy room. It has a crawl space. I didn't want to put her in there. So she sleeps in my room, which is much nicer and more comfortable. And the next morning she's like, why did you keep getting up in the middle of the night? And I'm like, I didn't. What are you talking about? And she was like, I was hearing footsteps on the stairs and outside of the bedroom like all night. Yeah, it happens. I wasn't up though. It wasn't me. The next night she comes into the room that I'm sleeping in as I'm drifting off and she's like, I'm hearing footsteps again. Unfortunately, you're just gonna have to get used to it because it happens. You hear them all the time in this house. The final night she was visiting me, we were walking my dog and there was like the big main house and then a barn, which wasn't used for anything. There were no animals or anything. The barn had a very creepy vibe, more so than the house even. Like when I would be in the barn getting firewood, doors would close on their own, objects would fall on their own. And if I asked nicely for whoever was doing that to please stop, they usually would. So my mom and I are walking Rocky, facing the barn, heading that way. We both, at the same time, see a shadow standing in one of the windows of the barn and then duck down. And that was its signature move. I would see something and then it would duck, like it wanted me to come look for it, which I never did. So yeah, that house, the property, the whole thing, it was absolutely...
She survives, chat. She survives the movie. She's not the stereotypical one. I ain't gonna lie. Cause she thought that shit through. She said, I'm not fucking going out there. Why would you?
Absolutely wild. Oh, and if you're a newer follower and you don't already know this story, the property that house is on was originally owned by the Mack family, which is the maternal side of Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism. His mother's family lived there for generations. There are roads all over the town named after her family. I don't know if it's them haunting that house or what it is, but something is going on there.
South Africa is really not a real place. Somebody from South Africa submitted a story to me telling me that people don't only get kidnapped by mermaid spirits, that there are other types of spirits in the water that kidnap people, i.e. snake spirits. I am back with another spooky story. Now this story is called The Snake Husband. So in parts of Africa, people whisper about the Mami Wata spirits, water beings who can appear human but often take form of a snake. And they say if one of them falls in love with you, there is no escape. So a young woman, we're gonna call her Amara. Amara lived near a forest river. Every evening she fetched water alone. Although the elders warned her never answer if you hear your name called by the river. So one night Amara was just fetching her water, minding her business. Suddenly she heard it, and it was like a soft, deep, and a very sweet voice called her Amara. She turned, but no one was there. She turned back and she notices that the waves in the water was just a bit strange. So that night, she doesn't think anything of it. She goes about her business, gets her water, goes home, and returns the following day. Now, the next day, when she returned to the same spot, mind you, this time, a tall, handsome man stood at the riverbank, dressed in white. The man was described to have really long eyelashes, and his eyes seemed like they had a glimmer in them. And he also had an interesting smile. However, the man was alluring and handsome. He was beautiful, and it seemed like he had his eyes set on Amara. The second Amara saw this dude, she was enamored. He approached her to talk to her, and surprise, surprise, within them getting to know each other, it seems like this man is Amara's dream man, the husband that she had been so patiently waiting for this whole time. Like, even his voice was soft. And while they were talking by the water, he offered her gifts, protection, and even love. Amara left, her chest tight. She just met the man of her dreams. How could she say no? So the person who submitted the story was Amara's sister. So she's telling it from her POV. Well, Amara started seeing this guy. They started going out to date, and Amara seemed like she was falling head over heels. 2 months into the relationship, Amara really started to want to meet the guy's parents, go to his house. However, he was always hesitant. Every time they would see each other, he would come pick her up, or they would just hang out in Amara's house. Well, 2 months into them dating, people noticed Amara changing. Her skin grew unusually smooth and cold. Her pupils became narrow like slits. At night, the weirdest thing, her family heard hissing coming from her room. And when they entered, the hissing was gone. Her skin started to shed like that of an actual snake. At this point, Amara's mother is having nightmares that there's a snake in her house. The next thing we know, the two kept dating and they became inseparable. Even though Amara looked like she was getting worser and worser. So Amara meets this beautiful man by the water and they become inseparable. Now,
okay. So what it seems like she's telling us, chat, is this story about to get worse and worse. As it seemingly gets better and better, it also gets worse and worse. So let's keep listening for real. Because she's starting to get more into the nigga, but he's starting to be like, I don't know, her energy and shit about to be more drained, I'm guessing.
Amara's sister, upon meeting him, had her own reservation. She said, and I kid you not, the man's eyes damn near glowed. Even at nighttime, his eyes glimmered. He just seemed like something else. So Amara's sister would try to warn her about him, but to Amara, it kind of came off like the sister was being a hater, considering the sister was still single. At that point, the two sisters get into argument, and Amara's sister decided that she will no longer speak on that relationship. The beautiful man winds up proposing to Amara. So Amara comes home and lets her family know that she's getting married. Everybody else seemed to be happy for Amara, and they asked Amara to meet her fiance's family. The only thing is, though, Amara herself has never met that man's family. So now there's a lot of pressure on Amara to make this meeting happen. So she goes to her man and starts putting pressure on him. One day, I guess he finally caved and he was like, okay, I will introduce you to my family. He basically told her that she had already accepted his proposal, which means that she's accepting of him, and that maybe it is the right time that she meets the family. And Amara's thinking maybe this guy is just really formal. So I guess when he figured that Amara was finally ready to meet the fam, he took Amara to the water, and Amara's probably wondering, what is she doing here?
All right. So here's the first red flag, chat. Like, you ain't meet this nigga family yet. He already met yours and shit. Like, he ain't make that a priority or nothing. Red flag. Red flag. This is real life too. Like, say the nigga not a merman or whatever. Bitch, if you don't meet none of my peoples, I ain't even fucking with you like that. I ain't gonna lie. If you just come to the room and get smacked on and all that, and then I leave, or I come to your crib and just meet your peoples, I ain't fucking with you like that. I'm just giving y'all a game right now. I'm probably not supposed to, but like, yeah, let me help you out, sister, for real. That nigga don't bring you to his peoples. You're not it. And then this mermaid nigga, like, I'm sure they have a deeper sense of community and family. Like, that you was gonna be on the menu one day. That was probably when you was gonna meet him.
Back at the same spot that they met. Well, this man took Amara to the water, inside of the water. Since Amara's sister was the one who submitted the story, at that moment she had no idea what had happened. Her sister was gone for 3 weeks. And everybody back on Earth is worried sick about this girl. Her sister thought that her boyfriend did something to her, might have unalived her. And considering people went around looking for the boyfriend too, well, the fiance, and no one could find either of them. People are thinking they eloped, people are thinking that he unalived her. It's so many different theories going on. But when Amara comes back to find out what they found out, shocking, to say the least. Well, Amara comes back to Earth 3 weeks later soaked. Her sister saw her walking in the yard, looking dazed and confused. She was soaking wet and she looked like a zombie. And the thing about her that sent chills down her sister's back was the fact that her sister barely recognized her at first. That's how different she looked after those 3 weeks. Her hair's texture was different. Her hair was straight and kind of stringy looking. Her eyes had the same glimmer that her fiance had. Her skin, at least 5 shades lighter. One look at her, you can just tell that she wasn't a product of God. The crazy thing about it too, when she came back, everyone had all these questions. Where did you go? What happened to you? Why do you look like this? Amara was mute. She could not speak. They would ask her about her fiance. For 3 months, Amara didn't mutter a word. During those 3 months, she would constantly go missing and come back in the same state. People started keeping watch to make sure that she stays in her bedroom at night. Invited the neighborhood's priests and pastors to come and pray over this girl because nobody knew what was going on. And the entire neighborhood started coming together to pray for Amara. And after 9 months, Amara's skin started darkening up. She went completely bald, and slowly but surely she started looking normal again. After 9 months, she started to speak. And when she spoke again, she talked about what she saw below and how it horrified her and shook her to her core. After the 9 months, Amara decided to give up her life to Jesus Christ because what she had saw was enough to convince her that God was real.
So I have in fact...
What did she see though, chat? What did she see? That's gonna make me mad. Like, she did all that and didn't tell what she saw. For real, like, it traumatized her so much. Like, tell us though. The fuck? Tell us what happened.
Experienced a real life haunting one time when I was babysitting. Very old house, 3 kids ages 5, 3, and 1. Before the parents left, the dad looked at me and said, "Hey."
And I'm sure they didn't accept that in a black household. Niggas too nosy. There's no way. Like, you're just trauma. Where the trauma came from? Like,
"I'm sorry." I have no idea what he was saying sorry for. I was like, "Oh, that's okay." The whole time I kept hearing creaks and whispers throughout the house. But it was a really old house, so I was like, I'm just imagining this. And the 5-year-old looks at me and says, the 5-year-old looks at me and says, "Hey, did you know we used to have a cat and it on Halloween, and so my dad buried it in the backyard. I was like, that's great. If you are with kids a lot, you know they say weird things. She wanted to play a game where she was the cat that I had to bury in the backyard. It was a weird night. So I put the kids to bed. Like clockwork, 5-year-old gets up and says she needs a glass of water. Getting her a glass of water when a cat covered in dirt runs up from the basement. I say, hey, I thought you said your cat. She said, he did. I said, then who's this cat? She looks at me and says, what cat? And it's like swirling at her feet. I think she's messing with me. I'm like, whatever, so I send her back to bed. Then I was like, well, I have this stray cat running around these people's house. So like an idiot, I chase the cat and it runs into the basement. Why I followed it down, I don't know. But I did, and when it got to the bottom of the stairs, it went into a corner and disappeared. I was like, weird. I went back upstairs to go do my homework. Then I hear metal clanging at the front door, like someone's clanging. And I think the parents are home early and they're struggling to get inside, so I go to open the door for them. And they're like so loud, they're struggling so much. I open the door, nobody's there. I was like, I'm getting a little freaked out now. So I go back on the couch to start texting my friends what's happening. And I turn around and the picture behind me has turned sideways. Then I start hearing whispers around the house. I think the kids have woken up, so I go to their room to tell them to be quiet. Knocked out asleep. Got really nervous, so I had to go pee. I go to the bathroom and all the lights in the house shut off. I immediately text the parents, you need to come home. Something's wrong, all the lights just shut off. As soon as I texted that, I heard footsteps coming upstairs, like from the basement coming upstairs. And there are voices saying, where is she? The lights are off. Where is she? The lights are off. And so I'm like, okay, thank God the parents are home, like, I'm done. And so I turn on the flashlight on my phone and I go to meet them at the steps. I thought it was weird they were coming from the basement, but I figured maybe there was like a door to the garage there or something. And so I yell out to them like, I'm here, I'm over here, your lights came out, sorry. I shine my flashlight towards the basement. No one's there. Their 2 dogs run over to me and sit on my right and my left and lowered their heads towards the basement. And I'm hearing whispers and I'm assuming the dogs heard it too. It's probably the scariest I've ever been in my life, but I'm still a babysitter, so I still have to like protect the kids. So I run back into the hallway in front of the kids' room just to stand in front. Like,
I ain't gonna lie. This ain't like family chat or like one of my friends' kids. Hashtag fuck some kids chat. I ain't gonna lie. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? The fuck? What the fuck is he talking about, chat? Like, it's demons and shit here. Like, alright. To a certain extent, alright. The kids, I'll take the, I ain't gonna lie, but that's kidnapping though. Like, chat, then I gotta worry about getting away from the demon and the police. As a black man, nah, chat, I'm not gonna lie. We're hightailing it the fuck out of here. Anyway, because anything happens in this bitch, we're liable regardless. We're liable regardless. We're not staying for that. Like, she has the luxury to do that shit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm out though. First thing smoking out that bitch. I'll call the parents and be like, hey, it's some shit in your house. I left. It's not a person or anything. It's not another black guy. I guarantee you that. It's not me. It's some shit in there though, my nigga. Like, you out. You asked out with me though.
I was gonna go out. Lisa was gonna go out.
I'm not coming
protecting
back.
Those kids. Then all of a sudden the whispering stopped.
I'm not coming back, chat.
The lights slowly came back on. I got on the phone with some friends. They were trying to come pick me up, but I couldn't leave the kids. I stayed on the phone with...
Why? Why, though? Maybe I'm styling them, chat. Maybe I don't know what I would do.
Friends until the parents got home. I was really shaken up, so I couldn't even tell the parents what happened.
I
just took the money and left. I was so scared I turned on the lights in my car on the way home because I just was horrifying. And then I slept with all my lights on that night. I never went back, but I am still a babysitter. So, I guess it didn't scare me too much.
Alright, chat. We had 28 minutes with that. Yeah, we're gonna listen to this last one.
Hey guys, so I have another story for you.
The devil story is kind of crazy.
This is an older story. I've shared it before. I'm going to condense it down to one video. This is probably, without question, the spookiest call I've ever been on in my law enforcement career, and I hope it never gets topped. But anyhow, it was several years ago. I was on the overnight shift. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was around Halloween time, so it's already got that spooky season feel. This elderly gentleman who lived out in the country, he drove...
Sorry for that noise, chat. That's my chips. My bad.
Drove to town for whatever reason and went to this 24/7 Gas station, asked the clerk if he could use the phone to call 911. The clerk, of course, said yes. He calls 911 and tells dispatch something along the lines of like, my wife's missing or she's been kidnapped or something, yada, yada, yada. And to have the officer meet me at our residence. So I go to the residence, and as I pull up and I get out, I don't see any red flags, if you will. Normally in a situation like this, you would see or hear some commotion. You would have something standing out to you. I'm not getting that. It looks very calm, very quaint. I don't know what I'm really walking into at this point. I have terrible officer awareness. I walk up the driveway and I pass his truck, and he hops out of the truck behind me, and as I turn around, he's got a handgun. And he's extremely agitated and upset and emotional at the fact that his wife is missing or kidnapped or whatever it was. So after a few minutes of coaxing the handgun from him and make it safe, I put it on the hood of his truck. I'm like, okay, talk to me, what's going on? And he says, okay, follow me to the house. So I follow him to the house, and as he gets to the door, he says, and I will never forget this, he says, do you believe in God? And I said, yes, I do.
Oh my mother. See, this is the thing, right? You see that man's face? That's the face of a nigga said, why the fuck did I just come here? What the fuck am I doing here? That's what... I bullshit you not. Say that's not his face, chat. Say that's not what you see in that man's face. It don't say, what the fuck am I doing here? I think his face gonna be over here. Over here. Oh, I think it's... Boom. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Boom, yeah. That motherfucker right there. Yeah, chat. That... No. No. Hopefully I'm pointing in the right direction. I done tried that shit so many times, but it's like, wow. Wow, my God. Damn. I wouldn't have went in there, but let's continue.
And he says, good. And that means you believe in the devil. I'm like, what the... What? So...
He's right, though.
He opens the door. He says, forgive me for all the candles. He says, that's the only way we can keep it out or something like that. And there's no candles. But yet he's tiptoeing through the living room like he doesn't want to step over these mysterious candles. There's no candles. So as I'm walking in the living room and all the furniture's gone, it's just an empty room. Like, I don't know if they're moving or they just moved in. It's just completely bare and empty. Although at every window around the home, I see a rifle or a shotgun. And I see spent shell casings and bullet casings. And I'm like, hey, bro, what's up with this? And he said, oh, I've been shooting out at these demons outside all night, trying to keep them out from coming in the house. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, well, we're not going to have that right now. So he lets me make all of his firearms safe, and talking to him, trying to figure out where his wife may be. And then we're in this cabin-esque home, and there's a loft, and I see above us his elderly wife comes to the edge of the loft, and she's wearing this white, like, robe, you know, like something Ebenezer Scrooge would wear. A little creepy looking, you know, and she's just standing there staring down at us. And I'm like, all right, she seems sensible. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to talk to her, because obviously he's the issue, and we need to get him some mental health treatment.
Chat, before he even goes, because I don't think this story is gonna go how he thinks it's gonna go. I think this bitch, I think she the nigga that, I think she the motherfucker that's giving out the crazy juice and shit. I think she's the master manipulator, the mastermind behind this shit. I believe she's that. This bitch the man in yellow. If y'all watching from, y'all know what I'm talking about.
So I'm like, hey, I found her, and he's like, oh, it's great news, it's great news. You know, he's all excited. He's calmed down now. He's like, she's safe, she's sound, good to go. So I'm like, we should be in and out in 5 minutes. So as I walk up the steps, I go up there and I talk to her, and I'm like, hey, ma'am, your husband's having some mental health issues. And she's like, I know. And she's like, I don't know what to do with him. I'm like, I get it, you know. Boys will be boys, but I'm gonna have to take him to the hospital. And I'm like, I'm gonna probably need you to help me out and, you know, convince him to go with me. And I think we're on the same page, and all of a sudden she says, am I in trouble? And I'm like, no. Why would you be in trouble? And she's like, well, I'm curious. And I'm like, well, he's not in any trouble either. but why did you say, are you in trouble? Like, there's something not right about how she said it. And she said, well, because I fed it. I'm like, fed what? She's like, I was feeding the devil babies. And I'm like, what? Like, I get it. He's having a mental health issue, but it's very rare, if not impossible, in my opinion, to have two people having both the same mental health issues.
Together.
And I'm like,
together, chat. Together. They're having these same fucking issues together that are not even just, it's just too similar, and all this shit is lining up. And some crazy shit they're saying, though, so it shouldn't be adding up, but it is. But it's adding up to all the wrong shit. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. He's like, what? Why? He's like, why does what you're saying match what he's saying? Because I was just talking to you. I thought we were going somewhere here. And this nigga wasn't going nowhere. I thought we were going somewhere. I thought me and you were here. Now I see you're with him. So that shit makes sense to y'all. And now I have to make it make sense to me. And from what I'm hearing, it's a demon in here. You're feeding babies to this shit. And he's shooting it out with these motherfuckers every day to try to survive. So I don't know who's going doing what, but I know I'm leaving. From that moment on, it's like, why am I even here? I'm gonna let you niggas I'm gonna let y'all take care of this shit. Eventually, y'all gonna turn these guns on each other. I'm gonna let that shit happen.
I'm not back again. And she said, I stole babies, and the only way I could keep the devil happy and away from us, because he broke into the home, was to throw them over the loft, because I'm only safe when I'm up here, elevated, and the devil's down there. I throw the babies over the loft or the balcony, and the devil feeds them. Or I feed the devil. But the problem is he won't leave me alone now. He's attached to me, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna go back down and talk to your husband. He's the more sensible one. I'm like, I'm never sleeping again. So I go down the steps. I talk to the husband. I'm like, bro, both
Never
you and
again.
your wife are gonna have to take a trip with me to the hospital. And he is now
Aggressive.
freaking out. He's trying to run outside. I don't know why. I'm trying to wheel him in. I'm like, dude, I don't want you to go out there. It's pitch black. It's middle of the night. Like, what is it out there that you need to do? And he's like, I need to get the devil away. I need to get the devil away from my house. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the devil is throwing the babies into the fire. And I'm like, what? And he said the demons are dancing around the...
Okay, look. This is where I'm out. Because now this shit is lining up again. Now the crazy shit is lining up. That's why... This is when you know you need to get the fuck out of somewhere. When crazy shit is lining up. When shit that don't make no fucking sense, it lines up to everybody else but you. You need to get the fuck out of where you at. Because that's when you know shit is too loose. Shit is too loose around you. The one motherfucker said she feeding babies to the devil. Then he gonna go say, I need to go outside so that I could... I don't know if he trying to stop the nigga from burning the babies or if he trying to stoke the motherfucking fire so he stay from in his shit. I don't know what he trying to do. I don't know if he adding babies to it. I don't know what the nigga want to go do. But where they getting the babies from, I think that would have been a crucial part. That might have stopped me right there. That might have stopped. I'm not sure.
Fire, and the devil
it's too much
is
going
in the
on
middle,
here.
and he's throwing the babies in the fire, and it's making the fire bigger, and I have to go put out the fire. And I'm like, bro, come back to reality. There is nothing out there. I am looking, and it is pitch black out there. And he's like, oh, you messed up. He's like, you just pissed them off. They're all looking at you now. And he's like, oh, they're running over here. They're running over here. And I'm like, well, shut the shades. Like, I shut the shades, and I'm like, now I'm wigging out. And I'm like, all right, look, we need to come back to reality. Luckily, at that time, another deputy shows up. The ambulance shows up. We both convince them to go to the hospital and get some mental health treatment. They do the same thing at the hospital. The doctor's like, I'm gonna send them away, and hopefully we can get this fixed. They went away for a few days. They came back, and I never dealt with them again. I never had to go to the house again. Sadly, I did hear that the elderly lady later passed on a few years later. But to this day, I've never had a call where both people were suffering from the same delusion. And in my opinion, there was something extra sinister involved there that's beyond what medicine or therapy could solve, if you will. But I want to know your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Yeah, that's gonna be our last one for this video. We're running into the 40-minute area. You feel me? I don't like to make these videos too long because I got statistics on these motherfuckers. Y'all niggas only watch until about 8 minutes into this shit, or you skipping along, or whatever the hell. So shouldn't be making these shits this long. But I fuck with y'all. You know, I'm trying to put out the best content I possibly can for right now. Until we can like really start just elevate, go out with the outside content, shit like that. I still haven't gotten the iPhone yet, but I have gotten our capture card. We do in fact have that. Tell me, we do got the capture card. We can now stream PS5. So we on our way, child. We moving up in the world. It's just we taking it slow, one day at a time. For I'm not trying to overwhelm myself doing this shit. I'm doing a whole bunch of other shit at the same time too. So feel me? It's the content getting out. Y'all see me though. Like, I mean, I've been on Twitch. I've been dropping some lives for y'all. I don't know if y'all caught the Guild Wars 2 content. But yeah, we play a lot of different. We do everything for real. Like, we jack of all trades. I ain't gonna lie. Might be a master in none of these shits, but you know, nigga. Yeah, I tell you what I can do. Just exit out this motherfucking video and tell y'all goodbye. I'll see y'all. Peace in the Middle East, my nigga. Love y'all for showing up. You already know what's going on.